The scratching started around midnight. Mark pressed his ear against the floorboards of his Durham, North Carolina porch, listening. Beneath the weathered wood, something moved. Something desperate. He grabbed a flashlight and peered through the lattice. 2 yellow eyes stared back. Then 4. Then 6. He'd found a mother opossum and her babies. But something was wrong. Speaking of finding amazing stories, don't miss what happens next. Hit that subscribe button. But first, let me take you back to how this little family ended up trapped beneath a suburban porch. 3 weeks earlier, the mother had been searching for a safe den. Female possums don't dig their own shelters. They're opportunists, seeking out abandoned spaces, hollow logs, rock crevices. This particular opossum, silver gray fur thick against the February cold, had squeezed beneath Mark's porch through a gap in the lattice. The space was dry, hidden, protected. Perfect for raising joeys. She'd given birth 12 days after mating, her body producing up to 20 jelly bean-sized babies, each one blind, hairless, utterly helpless. They'd made the perilous journey from birth canal to pouch, climbing through her fur with swimming motions, guided only by instinct. 13 found nipples. 7 did not survive. For 2 months, those 13 babies grew inside her pouch, attached to her teats, their bodies slowly developing. Eyes sealed shut, no fur, completely dependent on her warmth and milk. She left the den only at night, foraging for insects, fallen fruit, the occasional mouse. During the day, she curled in the darkness beneath the porch, her pouch heavy with growing life. But on a Wednesday afternoon in late March, everything changed. Mark had hired contractors to repair his porch. They'd arrived with hammers and 2x4s, ready to replace rotted boards. The mother opossum, startled from sleep by the pounding directly above her head, had bolted. She'd scrambled toward the lattice opening she'd used for weeks, the gap that led to freedom and the safety of trees beyond the yard. The gap was gone. The contractors had sealed it that morning, replacing the damaged lattice with fresh wood. She was trapped. And inside her pouch, 13 babies, now about the size of mice, eyes just beginning to open, depended entirely on her survival. For 3 days, she searched for another way out. She circled the porch's perimeter, testing every board, every corner, finding nothing. The space beneath the porch was only 3 feet high in most places, cramped and dark. There was no food, no water, just dust and the distant sound of human footsteps above. The babies began to weaken. At 65 days old, they'd reached a critical stage of development, mobile enough to occasionally release their grip on her nipples, but still completely dependent on her milk. Their tiny bodies needed constant nutrition. Without it, they'd starve within days. That's when Mark heard the scratching. He'd been sitting on his porch that Thursday night, reading, when the sound reached him. Frantic clawing. Repetitive, desperate. He'd assumed it was a raccoon or maybe a stray cat. But something about the rhythm made him pause. It wasn't random. It was purposeful. Survival. When his flashlight beam found her, he understood immediately. The mother opossum stood frozen in the light, her fur matted, her body thin. She didn't hiss. Didn't bare her 50 teeth in the defensive display possums are famous for. She just stared, exhausted. Behind her, partially visible in the shadows, small shapes moved. Babies. Some clinging to her back, others wobbling on unsteady legs. All of them too young to be without their mother. Mark pulled back, careful not to startle her further. He called the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission hotline, fingers fumbling with his phone in the darkness. The dispatcher connected him to Sarah Chin, a licensed wildlife rehabilitator who specialized in small mammals. "Don't try to catch her," Sarah said immediately. "Stressed possums can go into shock. We need to give her a way out and let her leave on her own terms." Real quick, if you want to see the extended version with all the rescue footage and what happened during the rehabilitation process, we've got that in the membership. Link below. Okay, back to the rescue. Sarah arrived within the hour, her van packed with nets, carriers, soft towels, and puppy milk formula. She knelt beside the porch with Mark, assessing the situation through the lattice. "She's been without food for at least 72 hours, Sarah said quietly, studying the mother's gaunt frame. Those babies are probably 60 to 70 days old based on their size and mobility. Old enough that their eyes are opening, but still nursing. If we don't get them out tonight, we'll lose them. They worked carefully, removing sections of lattice to create an opening. Sarah placed a humane trap just outside the gap, baited with cat food, overripe banana, and scrambled eggs, foods possums find irresistible. Then they waited. The mother emerged 40 minutes later, moving slowly, cautiously. She approached the trap, her nose twitching at the scent of food. But she didn't enter. Instead, she turned back toward the darkness beneath the porch, toward her babies. "She won't leave them," Sarah whispered. "We're going to have to go in." Mark fetched a ladder. Sarah pulled on thick gloves and grabbed a pillowcase. Soft, breathable, perfect for safely containing small mammals. She crawled beneath the porch on her stomach, flashlight clenched between her teeth, moving inch by inch through the cramped space. The babies huddled together in a corner, their fur just beginning to cover pink skin, their eyes reflecting the flashlight beam. Some made soft sneezing sounds, the noise baby possums used to call their mother. Others were eerily silent, too weak to vocalize. Sarah counted them. 13. All alive, but several were lethargic, barely responsive. She scooped them gently into the pillowcase, one by one, her movements deliberate and calm. Baby possums can't regulate their body temperature well at this age. Stress and cold can kill them quickly. She kept the pillowcase pressed against her chest, using her body heat to keep them warm. When she emerged, Mark had already set up a carrier lined with fleece blankets. Sarah transferred the babies, then turned her attention back to the trap. The mother was inside, finally eating. The trap door had closed behind her. She looked up as Sarah approached, food still in her mouth, and for a moment, they locked eyes. Sarah saw exhaustion there, hunger, fear, but also something else. A flicker of recognition, maybe? An understanding that this human wasn't a threat. "I've got your babies," Sarah said softly. "You're all going to be okay." The drive to Sarah's rehabilitation facility took 20 minutes. Mark followed in his own car, unable to shake the image of those tiny faces staring up from the pillowcase. At the facility, Sarah's first priority was warmth and hydration. She placed the babies on a heating pad set to low, wrapped in soft towels. Their body temperatures had dropped dangerously during their time without adequate nutrition. She checked each one, looking for injuries, signs of illness, developmental problems. 12 of the 13 appeared salvageable. One, the smallest, was unresponsive, barely breathing. Sarah tried. She warmed the tiny body against her skin, offered diluted electrolyte solution from a dropper, massaged the chest gently to stimulate breathing. But some fights are lost before they begin. The baby died 90 minutes after rescue, too small and weak to recover from days of malnutrition. Your moment to help is easy. Just hit subscribe so we can keep sharing these rescue stories. The remaining 12 babies received their first meal, Espalac puppy milk replacer, carefully measured and warmed to body temperature. Sarah fed them using small syringes, letting them lap from the tip. Possums don't suckle like other mammals, making bottle feeding tricky. But these babies were old enough that their jaws were motile, able to open and close voluntarily. They ate eagerly, their tiny bodies warming as nutrition flowed back into their systems. The mother, meanwhile, received her own care. Sarah examined her thoroughly, checking for injuries, parasites, signs of illness. Possums are susceptible to flea anemia, and 3 days without food had left this mother critically thin. Sarah treated her for external parasites, offered fresh water, and provided a generous portion of specialized wildlife nutrition formula mixed with fruits and protein. The mother ate until her stomach was visibly distended, her body desperately reclaiming lost resources. Then came the crucial question: could the babies be reunited with their mother? In wildlife rehabilitation, the goal is always to keep families together when possible. Mother possums are far better at raising joeys than any human. They teach survival skills, how to forage, what foods are safe, how to avoid predators. But reunion only works if the mother is healthy enough to care for her young, and if the stress of captivity hasn't broken the maternal bond. Sarah waited 24 hours. She wanted the mother fully recovered, calm, eating well. She kept the babies in a separate enclosure, continuing to feed them every 4 hours, monitoring their weight and development. All 12 were gaining strength, their fur thickening, their movements becoming more coordinated. On the second evening, Sarah attempted reunion. She placed the mother in a large outdoor enclosure filled with branches, hiding spots, and enrichment. Then, one by one, she introduced the babies. She set them near their mother and stepped back, watching. The mother's response was immediate. She sniffed each baby thoroughly, her whiskers twitching, her body language shifting from cautious to protective. The babies, recognizing their mother's scent, climbed onto her back, clinging to her fur with tiny paws. Some nuzzled toward her pouch, seeking the familiar comfort of her teats. Within minutes, all 12 babies were either riding on her back or latched inside the pouch. The mother stood, testing the weight, adjusting her stance. Then she began to groom them, her tongue moving over their fur in long, deliberate strokes. The reunion was successful, but the work was far from over. The transformation was remarkable. And if you don't want to miss transformations like this, hit that subscribe button. Baby possums orphaned or separated from their mothers before they're fully independent faced significant survival challenges. These 12 had been rescued at a critical age, old enough that their eyes were opening and they could process solid foods, but still weeks away from weaning. In the wild, they'd stay with their mother until they were approximately 4.5 months old, learning essential survival skills. Sarah's job was to ensure they received that education, even in captivity. She kept the family in progressively larger outdoor enclosures, designed to mimic natural habitat. She scattered food throughout the space instead of placing it in bowls, forcing the babies to hunt and forage. She hid treats, mealworms, crickets, pieces of fruit, inside hollow logs and beneath leaf litter. She introduced live prey when appropriate, allowing the babies to practice their hunting instincts. The mother taught her young by example. She showed them how to overturn rocks to find insects, how to identify safe foods, how to climb trees using their prehensile tails. The babies watched and mimicked, their instincts sharpening with each passing day. Sarah limited human contact deliberately. Possums habituate easily to people, and habituated wildlife often struggle to survive after release. She visited the enclosure only to replenish food and water, always when the family was sleeping. She avoided making eye contact, avoided speaking around them. She wanted them to see humans as irrelevant at best, threats at worst. By early June, the babies had reached the size where they no longer fit comfortably in their mother's pouch. They spent their nights riding on her back instead, 13 small bodies clinging to her fur as she moved through the enclosure. During the day, they explored independently, their confidence growing. Sarah began planning for release. She waited until the young possums reached approximately 2 pounds each, large enough that they were no longer easy prey for owls, their primary predator. She wanted them overwintered with enough body mass and survival knowledge to make it through their first season alone. Late summer babies, born in July or August, often struggle. They don't have time to learn from their mothers before winter arrives, and many don't survive their first cold months. But these babies, born in early March, had been given time. Time to grow. Time to learn. Time to develop the skills they'd need. In late July, Sarah transported the family to a wooded release site 20 miles from Mark's neighborhood. The location had been carefully chosen, far from roads with access to fresh water, dense tree cover, and minimal human activity. She'd coordinated with the landowner, ensuring the possums would be undisturbed. She opened the carrier door at dusk, when possums naturally begin their nightly activities. The mother emerged first, her nose testing the air, her body tense. Behind her, the babies followed, their movements cautious but curious. They'd never experienced true wilderness, the scent of wild earth, the sound of crickets and tree frogs, the vast openness of forest night. Sarah watched from a distance as the family ventured into the trees. The mother led them toward a fallen log, sniffing for insects. The babies fanned out, exploring, occasionally making soft clicking sounds to communicate with each other. Within 20 minutes, they disappeared into the darkness. Sarah stood alone in the empty clearing, her flashlight beam cutting through the summer night. She thought about the journey that had brought them here. The frightened homeowner who'd heard scratching beneath his porch. The exhausted mother fighting to keep her babies alive in the darkness. The 12 tiny faces staring up from a pillowcase, their futures uncertain. Wildlife rehabilitation is often heartbreaking. For every animal successfully released, there are others that don't make it. The one baby that died despite Sarah's best efforts. The countless others who are never found, never rescued, whose stories end in silence. But sometimes there are nights like this. Nights when you stand in a forest and watch a family of possums, healthy, strong, wild, claim the life they were always meant to have. Look, these rescues cost money, vet bills, transport, rehabilitation supplies. If you want to support the work directly, membership link is below. No pressure. Possums are North America's only marsupial, ancient survivors of an evolutionary path that diverged millions of years ago. They're often misunderstood, feared for their rat-like appearance and their defensive displays. But they're remarkably gentle animals. They're immune to most snake venoms and actively hunt venomous snakes. They consume thousands of ticks each season, reducing the prevalence of Lyme disease. They're nature's cleanup crew, eating carrion and refuse that would otherwise rot. And they're devoted parents. A mother opossum will carry her babies for months, teaching them, protecting them, sacrificing her own safety to ensure their survival. Even trapped beneath a porch, starving, she didn't abandon them. She stayed. She fought. She trusted that help would come. That night beneath Mark's porch, scratching in the darkness, she'd been calling out. Not just to escape, but to save her family. And someone heard her. Mark still thinks about them sometimes. The mother's yellow eyes meeting his through the lattice. The soft weight of the pillowcase full of baby possums, warm against his chest as he'd helped Sarah carry them to the van. The knowledge that his decision to call for help instead of trying to handle the situation himself had saved 13 lives. He's since modified his porch, ensuring there are no gaps where wildlife might become trapped. But he's also added features: brush piles in his backyard, water sources, native plants that attract the insects possums love to eat. His property is no longer just a human space. It's shared territory, a place where wild neighbors can pass through safely. Because that's the truth at the heart of all wildlife rescue. We share this world. Our homes and yards aren't separate from nature, they're part of it. The possums beneath our porches, the birds in our eaves, the rabbits in our gardens. They're not invaders. They're residents, trying to survive in a landscape we've fundamentally altered. The least we can do is notice. The least we can do is care. The least we can do when we hear scratching in the darkness is stop and listen. For the complete rescue journey and ongoing updates, check out the membership. Thanks for watching. Sometimes the smallest acts of compassion, a phone call, a few hours of patience, the willingness to help, ripple outward in ways we'll never fully see. Somewhere in the North Carolina woods tonight, 12 possums are hunting, climbing, surviving. They don't remember the porch or the pillowcase or the human hands that saved them. They just remember their mother and the lesson she taught them through her refusal to give up. That life, even when it seems impossible, is always worth fighting for.